All right, good evening, everyone. First day of January, and it is a cold one out there. Wind chill advisories are in effect for later tonight into tomorrow for everybody if you're watching right now. Freeze warnings are in effect for, it looks like, basically Citrus County and Levy County, and it stays cold, it looks like, through the first part of this week. Man, it was just a misty, cold day out there at Ray J for the football game. It's now 46 degrees. Dew point's 41. We've got some fog. We've got mist. Look at the current temperatures. Cold front sitting down by Fort Myers. It's 37 right now. That's the air temperature in Crystal River. 47 in Riverview, 55 in Northport. It's a huge difference in the temperatures right now, but it's also windy. So you factor in that wind, and it feels like it's 30 in Crystal River, 39 in Tampa. Not as bad to get south of I-4, but that right there is the reason why we do have the wind chill advisory in effect, and it's going to get worse as we get into tonight from north to south. So wind chill advisory for everybody. Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus, especially Hernando and Citrus, that's where it's going to feel the coldest, 15 to 25 degrees. That's what it's going to feel like when you factor in the temperatures and the wind. Everybody else will be about 25 to 30 degrees. The freeze warning is for Citrus County, northward, and it does include the coast. I'll talk about all this in detail. I'll have your hour-by-hour forecast, and we'll look ahead into the weekend. It does warm up a little bit.
So this cold weather we're feeling is nothing compared to what the rest of the country is dealing with.
Yeah, that's right. People who came into town for today's Outback Bowl, it was a whole lot better than where they left from. So look at what they left behind. This is Paw Paw, Michigan. It's 2 hours west of University of Michigan. Michigan ended up losing to South Carolina. The high temperature there, 13 degrees.
10 News reporter Eric Glasser is live at Raymond James Stadium, where despite today's temperatures, Eric, most fans were pretty grateful, right?
I think so, Carol. You know, it was a beautiful day out here, cool for the most part. It has gone, I can tell you, from cool to cold. But we did speak with a lot of people, and considering where it is that they came from to come to the Outback Bowl today, it was still considerably warmer than that. You could almost tell which team fans were rooting for at this year's Outback Bowl by what they were wearing. No, not the colors, but the length of their sleeves and pants.
I never put on pants in Florida. It's never really that cold. It's always shorts.
In fact, lots of Michigan fans considered this downright balmy compared to what they left up north.
It's -9 in Ann Arbor, so we'll take this any day.
South Carolina fans were more likely to break out the head warmers and mittens.
The last 2 days spoiled you, and then today you come down, it's cool and breezy and misty rain.
50 degrees, still better than 30 back in Columbia, but cold enough to turn tailgate grills into outdoor heaters.
It's football season. We love it. We're happy to be here. Go Tampa, go Cox. It's the best.
No snow, so we're happy.
One thing for certain, whether rooting for Garnet Red or Michigan Blue,
Go Blue!
fans dropped a lot of green in Tampa Bay this week.
Set a budget about $500. I mean, $1,000.
For the entire event, maybe $3 grand.
I think we figured about $2 grand, and we probably busted that.
10 Investigates has challenged what appear to be inflated, often over-optimistic financial figures used to attract big sporting events. But tourism officials defend their figures, citing exposure, intangible benefits beyond hotel nights, restaurants.
And the times that Tampa Bay will be mentioned, I don't know who puts a price on that, but that's great free public publicity, public relations, and marketing.
I mean, Tampa's great. We don't care. It could be as cold as it can be. It's still fun. Great time here. We'll always come back here. Had a good time.
In fact, a lot of the people that we spoke with say that they not only had a good time, in fact, such a good time here in Tampa Bay this past week, that they would recommend it to people whether there was a big game going on or not, and that they would likely return as well. And that makes not just the Gamecocks, but the Tampa Bay area a winner today. Live at Ray J, Eric Glasser, 10 News.
Again, 10 Investigates looked into the economic impact of past Outback Bowls. 10 Investigates found while the game is good for the area, it's nowhere near as good as the Outback Bowl folks like to claim. You can find previous stories on our website, WTSP.com.
It didn't take long for President Trump to start a Twitter storm in 2018. His first tweet of the year took aim at Pakistan. He wrote, "The United States has foolishly given Pakistan more than $33 billion in aid over the last 15 years, and they have given us nothing but lies and deceit. They give safe haven to the terrorists we hunt in Afghanistan with little help, no more." This comes as his administration considers whether or not to withhold $225 million in aid for Pakistan, according to the New York Times. 2018 may be new, but there are some old problems that remain challenges for the White House. North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un addressed his country on New Year's Day and announced he now has a nuclear button on his desk after finishing work on his nuclear arsenal. He claims the weapons can reach every U.S. state. When asked about it, the president, all he said was, "We'll see." Now, the president is also keeping an eye on domestic unrest in Iran. At least 12 people have been killed in the ongoing demonstrations across the country. The protests began Thursday over corruption and economic issues and has since spread. The government has responded by blocking social media sites and cracking down with force. President Trump tweeted that the U.S. is watching closely for human rights violations.
The new year is a great time to start fresh or set new goals for ourselves, but January 1st is also when new laws go into effect. Here's a few of the new ones across the nation. Despite President Trump's attempts at a ban, transgender people can enlist beginning today. Their military future is uncertain because the Justice Department has not yet decided if it will stop the court fight launched in support of the ban. That decision will come in a few weeks after the Pentagon finishes a study on the issue. At the state level, 2 new laws in California have a lot of people talking. First, say goodbye to purchasing ammo online and having it delivered to your doorstep. Any ammunition ordered on the web will now be shipped to a licensed dealer approved by the Justice Department. Also, recreational marijuana use is now legal in the state for anyone over the age of 21. California is now the biggest legal marijuana market in the U.S. Just to the north, you must now be 21 to purchase tobacco products in Oregon. Employers in Nevada must provide time off for victims of domestic violence or for family members of those victims. The law allows for up to 160 hours in a 12-month period. Custody battles are nothing new for a couple going through a divorce, but it's usually not for the family pet. A new law in the state of Illinois now includes a custody agreement for the companion animal. That's right. If sole ownership is not agreed upon, couples could be facing a joint custody schedule for their family pet. Coming up at 5:30, we'll introduce you to some of Florida's new laws, with one that may lead to more money in your paycheck. Over in D.C., they still have a lot of work to do. 10 News reporter Joshua Dorwitz looks at some of the big unfinished business lawmakers will face once they return to Congress for the new year and what those big items could mean for us here in Florida.
Well, for starters, 2018 is an election year. Historically, those are pretty tough times to pass major legislation. Lawmakers would rather not put themselves out there like that. But that doesn't mean we don't have a pretty big list of possibilities for legislation in the new year, starting with something that'll have major implications for us here in Florida: disaster relief funding. Right now, the ask is $81 billion. That's the largest in U.S. history, which makes sense. Between hurricanes and wildfires, it was a chaotic year. But the bill is stuck in the Senate. Conservatives think it's too much money. Democrats, they think it's not enough, especially for hard-hit Puerto Rico. We're also going to be talking a lot about infrastructure in 2018 as well. On the campaign trail, you might remember President Trump, he promised $1 trillion for it, but that's not so likely. The White House is expected to say more about this in January, including a plan to transfer more authority on this kind of spending back to the state and local level. Governor Rick Scott, he said in 2017 he wanted more money for our seaports. That's a major part of Florida's economy. Leaders in Tampa and St. Pete, they have also called for more funding to fix our aging pipe system. And despite all the hoopla about repealing Obamacare in 2017, Republicans will still face a similar struggle in the new year between those who want to stabilize Obamacare as those premiums continue to go up and those who want to take another shot at completely scrapping it. And don't forget DACA and the tens of thousands of so-called dreamers living here in Florida alone, like Syra Lozano. We spoke to her on Saturday. You can find that interview on WTSP.com. Congress still has to figure out whether they will remain protected from deportation. Lawmakers, meanwhile, they return to Congress to start sorting all of this out on Wednesday.
Want to be hangover free in 2018?
We're busting the biggest booze myths.
Maybe you or a friend is still recovering after ringing in the new year. If you partied a little too hard last night and want to avoid feeling hungover again, we are busting some booze myths. Theory number 1, beer before liquor, never been sicker. Liquor before beer, you're in the clear. To find out whether it's true, we talked to University of Texas researcher and pharmacy professor, Dr. Carlton Erickson.
Nope, it's a myth. There's no science behind this. Nobody's ever measured whether beer before liquor makes you sicker.
Too bad. Next up, mixing alcohol with energy drinks gets you even more drunk.
Alcohol's initial effects is stimulation, and that caffeine adds to that. So you can expect the pharmacology behind that to be correct.
And finally, throwing up will help avoid a hangover. Now, this is true, but only if you visit that porcelain god before the alcohol makes its way into your blood system.
If you throw up right after you start drinking, the chances are you won't have much of a hangover because very little of it would have had the chance to get into the upper intestine.
Now, there are a lot of other stories and theories out there, but most are strictly based on experiences and have no scientific backing.
Scientists are not interested in these types of things. They have many more important things to do.
Catalina, I know that, just drinking water throughout the night, that helps hugely for the next day, right?
It always worked for
Yeah.
me, absolutely. You know what, that's news you can use, really. But I will admit one thing, I was asleep at 9:30 last night.
Wow.
My kids wore me out, yes.
I was not. The beer before liquor is more of a consumption thing, because if you've got beer in you, now you're just drinking, and then if you start switching to liquor, which has higher proof, now your alcohol level is going up, and you just.
I try to stick with the same thing throughout the night.
Yeah.
It's just the easiest way for me.
Well, fortunately, I am not feeling good. I mean, I am feeling good today.
Okay.
I'm not feeling bad today, is what I wanted to say.
Okay.
But if you are, and I know a lot of folks that are, what a day to stay inside and cuddle up and just get underneath the blankets, because, man, it is, I don't want to say nasty, but it is in the 40s and rain or mist and some fog in the area. That's the view from the Mahaffey Theater in St. Pete. You can see the airport there, and there's a nice yacht out there as well, too. But temperatures right now are in the 40s for just about everybody. Well, in that I-4 corridor, it's a little bit warmer the further south you go. Humidity is 83%. Winds blowing north at about 16 miles per hour, so that makes it feel even colder. Look at the highs today, guys. Mid-60s. 65 was the high temperature in Tampa. That was about midnight as soon as we started the year. Right now, everybody is at least in the 40s, if not 30s north of I-4. We've got 50 in Bradenton and 51 in Lakewood Ranch. But look at that I-4 corridor from Lakeland to Carrollwood to St. Pete, all in the 40s right now, and 37 degrees in Crystal River. Now, the wind's blowing. We talked about that. It's blowing pretty good. Gusting to 23 in Clearwater, 22 in Tampa, 24 at Davis Islands. It's all out of the north-northeast, and it's sustained in the teens. And so you factor that in with those cool temperatures, and it makes it feel like the low 30s. Pasco, Hernando, Citrus County feels like 37 in Carrollwood, 42 for Riverview, and St. Pete Clearwater feels like 45 degrees. So yeah, it is raw out there. But look at the spread of temperatures. It's 77 degrees in Miami right now. It's 35 in Pensacola. That is a huge spread for just the state of Florida, and that's the front that's sitting right about in here right now. Well, you can see, I mean, where we have 70s is on the other side of the front. So that will continue moving off towards the south. Guys, we are 22 degrees colder right now than where we were at this time yesterday. So that's the big change. Now, the rain, mist is tough to see on the radar here, but we're going to keep some of it. Tonight, tomorrow, and then especially tomorrow night into Wednesday, I think we see some downright good rain coming through here. But there's an area of low pressure that's going to form right out here on that front, and that's going to give us a better chance for some showers. Not a lot of moisture up to our north and the west. There's some lake effect snows. Yeah, once again, and yes, it is very, very cold. Of course, we're just getting just a small taste of it. It's 0 right now in Chicago and Minneapolis, so yeah, that's cold. We are looking at the chance for rain. Let me show you through tonight. It's going to stay cloudy. Big full moon out there, super moon. We're not going to see it. I hope you got a chance to check it out last night. Wind stays up tonight. Mist, clouds, raw night out there. Most areas along the I-4 corridor will be in, it looks like now, the 40s to even some upper 30s, but it'll be cooler the further north you go. This is tomorrow evening at about 10 o'clock. We still have some rain across the area, but I think really late tomorrow night into Wednesdays when we have the chance for it. Now, there is going to be a little mixed precip, perhaps even in Citrus County. There is a chance for that, but it's not going to make it down to the Tampa area, and I think it stays up to the north. That's Wednesday morning at 6 o'clock. And in fact, the low that forms out here is going to move its way up the coast. And look at this. I mean, 2 to 3 inches along the coast, 5 inches, 6 inches interior North Carolina, or I-95 corridor, even east of there. The big cities get it. Wednesday night into Thursday. If you've got travel plans Thursday to the northeast, check ahead because there's going to be some issues there. So here's our forecast for tonight. Wind chill advisory goes into effect starting at 10 o'clock tonight. Temperatures fall down through the low 40s into the upper 30s. About 33 in Crystal River. You have a freeze warning, and that wind chill advisory will go until about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Now, the 7-day forecast shows it not getting much warmer. In fact, staying breezy, too, through Thursday, but just chilly. I mean, even Friday. We're going to be in the 20s north of I-4, especially Pasco, Hernando, Citrus, mainly Hernando and Citrus, Thursday morning, Friday morning, and then we finally start to warm things up, guys, for the weekend. So we'll get 70 back by Sunday.
I like these cooler temperatures, though.
Oh, I love it. I woke up this morning and absolutely loved it. My kids, not so much, but it was nice.
Right. Yeah. The purpose of our On the Road segment is to highlight interesting people talking about uplifting things in unique ways.
And we found plenty of those in 2017. 10 News reporter Bobby Lewis takes a look back at the best on-the-road segments of the year.
2017 was so great, and so were the people that I met on the road. I saw thousands of smiles across Tampa Bay miles, and it all started in a van. With a man delivering wheelchairs from a wheelchair.
If I'm able to wake up every day and make a difference, it made my day.
You guys ready?
A monster truck dream came true.
This is a day that he will never forget.
And a vet got some help from pets.
Lost a lot of buddies, saw a lot of the terrors of war.
You turned to puppies.
Yeah, turned to puppies.
February brought us grannies shuffling.
Eileen's in the Hall of Fame.
Vets shooting and kids sharing.
You better make it.
He has Down syndrome. That hasn't limited him at all.
A pair of pigeon pals kept us laughing.
Pigeon has a bad rap.
And singing Valentine's, smiling.
I can't believe all that we've been through in the past 2 years.
Well, she said she's been having a runny nose.
In March, kids got to be doctors for a day.
I've had my eyes checked a few times.
Oh my goodness. And cops made sure blind kids found eggs at Easter.
You know, I can tolerate it. It's not that bad.
Dreams came true in April.
Hey, Daddy.
Like meeting Vanna White.
Good.
Oh, it's so good to see you in person.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my boy!
A pro golf player hit that ball.
A Masters souvenir. And color like it was meant to be seen.
Oh yeah, a lot better. A lot better.
Leave what you can and take what you need.
In May, the Little Free Pantry opened in Bel Air.
We're giving from the heart.
And a father and son competed side by side in Israel. Lovebirds soared over Tampa.
Andrew with the big hit takes off for first.
And a Sarasota teen teed up a mighty mission.
One day there will be lights here, without a doubt.
Because of your book.
I do hope so.
In June, a racer traded his wheelchair for a jet ski in St. Pete. And a wounded warrior traded his for a surfboard on the East Coast.
To see him get back involved and just not be part of a chair, we're getting there. We're getting there.
July meant Legos and avocados, both just for Dad.
Kind of like the way Legos bond together. That's what it's done for my family and I.
What better way to pay homage to him?
I just wanted the spring to embrace me.
And a Weeki-Watchie mermaid swam again 60 years later.
If I never did it again, I wanted to go in that day.
A railroad hit a milestone in Largo come August.
We're seeing third generation sometimes now.
Great timing.
And a science-loving family sought out the sun.
I think everybody went, ooh.
I never in a million years imagined that I would be driving a car again.
A donation got Willie Reese back behind the wheel after 26 years. September met Irma, preparing and picking up the pieces and making the most out of a stormy month.
We're not going to let Irma stop us.
When October came calling, I found an impressive collection.
This is an 1890s dial phone.
And tasted sweet Florida history.
Look at the juice coming out. This just gets me pumped up. That's adrenaline rush for me.
November, we heard letters from war.
You can't read the rest of the letter because of the bullet hole.
Sleigh's got some giddy-up. We wrapped up 2017 with a ride in Santa's sleigh.
Well, it's empty.
And a lesson from Tampa about what Christmas
this is a we.
is all about. There's still plenty of road left to travel and plenty of good stories to tell. I think the good news belongs in the news, and I'll do my best to bring it to you in 2018. On the road, I'm Bobby Lewis, 10 News.
The one I really loved, Alex, was the father and son who competed together. It's just such a special moment, and Bobby captures like these moments, and a lot of times you don't know where he's going. It's just like a little twist that keeps you.
I think watching that woman become a mermaid again, you know, was just so wonderful to see.
I look forward to his stories in 2018.
Of course. Well, we're starting the new year with a new social media challenge as well. It involves Star Wars and people taking their shirts off.
Alex, we have seen a lot of social media challenges. A couple of years ago, we had the ice bucket challenge.
Right. Then there was the invisible box challenge. I'm still not sure how these things come about, but they're all interesting. We have a new one. It's called the Kylo Ren challenge, and Star Wars fans will be familiar with that name. It's a character, obviously Han Solo's son. But in the new movie, he's played by Adam Driver. Now, I want to show you, Adam Driver is an absolutely ripped man. This guy works out for sure, and people are freaking out about a shirtless scene in the new movie. So you're taking a look at a little clip of it right there.
Okay.
Yeah. So enter John Mayer. Simply caption this picture, Kylo Ren challenge. Everybody has jumped in. So user Darth Red Harvest accepted the challenge, holding up his very own lightsaber. So you can see that they're just wearing these high-waisted pants and being shirtless as well.
Yes.
So Kate got her man to jump in with some high-waisted pants, lightsaber not, a toothbrush had to do in this shot. This user said he wanted to look Star Wars for the end of the year, adding May the Force be with you in 2018. This guy also came prepared with a lightsaber. Some of these guys actually look like they really should be in the movie.
It looks like they worked out quite a bit to do this.
Exactly. And finally, this user's caption was my absolute favorite. Thanks for starting this, John Mayer. My saber was collecting dust. For every 10 likes, I'll try and do something Kylo Ren would do. Now, my question is, who in the newsroom can we get to jump in on this challenge? Do you think Bobby would?
I don't know. That doesn't seem comfortable.
We'll take a little bit of a bet. I think Reg would, absolutely. We'll have to wait for that one.
Yeah.
All right, so several new laws took effect today, including one that could hike your pay up. Most of us make new goals or resolutions in the new year. One of mine this year is to only speak to my kids in Spanish. My husband will speak to them in English, and they will be bilingual in theory.
That is a good one. How much Spanish do they speak right now?
A little bit, but not enough. Not enough at all. So
I
we're
wish
gonna
my
get
parents did more of that, honestly, so I could get more of that Spanish. Well, I think, you know me, I'm going to save more money this year. I'm always trying to cut something out of the budget just to save a couple extra dollars. So hopefully I'll continue doing that.
We'll have to chat February 1st and make sure that we continue
if we're still on plan, exactly. So while we're all working on that new you starting today, we also have some new laws going into effect in the state of Florida. So to combat opioid abuse, doctors can no longer initially prescribe these drugs for more than 5 days for acute pain, even if the patient just had surgery. An initial prescription means the patient has not had a prescription for that medication in the last year. After 4 days of time, doctors can write a new prescription, but it can't be for more than a 30-day supply. Now, if you've divorced in the state of Florida or know someone who has, when there's kids involved, chances are you know about the parenting time plan that's filed. Under this new law, unmarried parents who separate must also file a plan with the courts. The plan says where the child will live and how the parent responsibilities will be shared. If the parents can't agree, the courts will then jump in and decide. The goal is to promote contact between the child and the parent they don't live with. And state employees will see new changes in the Florida retirement system. Everyone will be required to make a 3% contribution. For employees who were hired after July 1st, 2011, their retirement will be calculated based on their highest 8 years of salary rather than 5. The retirement age is bumping up from 62 to 65 years old. Employees who could have retired after 30 years of service now may do so after 33. For many state employees, this change could translate into a financial loss to their retirement.
People from all around the U.S. are ringing in the new year with a raise. Minimum wage is going up in some places, including the state of Florida. But as our Shannon Leid explained, some people living on a low income say it's not enough.
21-year-old Alex Harris is responsible for paying most of his family's bills. Working at a fast food restaurant, he says minimum wage just isn't cutting it.
We've been mostly struggling most of our life, back and forth. We just barely getting through.
Harris has been fighting for better wages with the group Fight for 15. This new year, Florida's minimum wage will be increased, but not by much. It will go from $8.10 an hour to $8.25. Harris says this will do little to help him with bills, but at least it's a start.
Our goal is to stop depending on the government on that basis, but it's very hard to stop when they're only giving you $8 an hour.
Let's break it down. If you work a 40-hour work week at $8.25 an hour, you earn $330 before taxes. So you're looking at an extra $6 a week. Florida Senator Bill Nelson says a 15-cent raise isn't enough to help people get out of poverty.
It needs to go higher. It needs to go at least to about $11 or $12. What is happening is that people at the lower rung of the economic ladder are the ones that are hurting.
But Harris is hopeful that in the coming years, significant changes will be made to raise the minimum wage even higher. In Tampa, Shannon Valladolid, 10 News.
In 2004, Florida voters passed a motion to increase Florida's minimum wage to the rate of inflation. So the wage could increase every year, but will never decrease.
It's been a deadly few days all around the country. A man shoots deputies in Colorado, an uncle kills his nephew in Polk County, and a stepfather kills a 7-year-old boy in Seffner. Too often we see tragedies like this happen around the holidays. 10 News reporter Garen Flowers talked with a domestic violence expert to find out why we see such a spike during this season.
If you search online for man shoots wife, domestic dispute, or domestic violence, just a few examples, unfortunately, you'll see a lot of recent results just from December. A lot of these incidents happened right around Christmas and the New Year celebration. So that got us wondering, does domestic violence increase during the holidays? 2 local cases happened just 2 days ago. In Seffner, a 31-year-old man killed his stepson when he beat and threw him into a wall. In Polk County later that day, a man visiting from Kentucky got into an argument with his nephew. He ended up shooting and killing him, in addition to shooting his niece, who's still recovering. We found at least 8 other domestic-related deaths across the country. While these incidents were bunched into a month time frame, Mindy Murphy with Springs of Tampa Bay says it's not just big this time of the year. Do you see an uptick in domestic violence issues during the holidays?
So, that's one of the things I think the news always wants to kind of simplify something, right? And say, okay, domestic violence must increase at the holidays. And the reality is that's a little bit of a myth.
Data from the National Resource Center on Domestic Violence backs that up, showing fewer calls to the National Domestic Violence Hotline on holidays than on an average day. Through your time working in this business, have you learned anything about the mentality of why things like this happen?
They always happen because someone has made a choice out there. The person who commits the murder or hits the person, they're making a choice.
She also said you don't have to go to a shelter to get help. They provide more services to people outside of shelters than inside. For instance, they have attorneys on staff who can help with injunctions free of charge. We posted their information online. Just go to our website, WTSP.com.
Sad new details about the nursing home in South Florida that lost power and air conditioning due to Hurricane Irma, leading to the deaths of 12 residents. We now know just how hot it got inside. The Agency for Healthcare Administration found the temperature reached 99 degrees. Federal regulations say it should never rise above 81. The conditions were the most extreme on the second floor of the facility where 10 victims lived. Medical records of most of the residents were examined, and 4 out of every 5 residents living on the second floor dealt with dehydration and other heat-related conditions. 41% of the people living on the bottom floor also suffered those same symptoms. In papers filed with the state, the nursing home said excessive temperatures were never experienced in the building. Families of the victims and survivors are suing the nursing home.
You've said goodbye to 2017, but before you close the door for good, take a look at the stories that made headlines in the Bay Area.
We blazed through the first half of 2017 as Florida saw the worst wildfire season in years.
I watched the other neighbor's house go up in flames. I watched the other guy's house explode.
We only had about 10 minutes to get out.
We lost everything. Many of them in dry wooded areas, except for this one. This brush fire came extremely close to Friday night rush hour traffic along I-275 in Pinellas County. Apparently a lawnmower malfunctioned, sparking the blaze, but dry conditions and wind didn't help either. That same month, the 10 news you once knew forever changed. We stepped out of the studio and into the newsroom, bringing you the latest stories even faster. Stories like that time students took a stand for their teachers, and when this sinkhole opened up, swallowing homes in Land O'Lakes. Even that time, we celebrated a legend one day and had to say goodbye the next. And because it is Florida, we've had our fair share of strange news. Remember this lady? She was arrested for driving drunk on a horse. The sports world didn't escape this year unscathed. We said goodbye to 8-time MLB All-Star Roy Halladay. He died after his plane crashed into the Gulf, just a quarter mile from Newport Richey.
He exemplified the best and the most humble, loving person.
Thousands stopped by Clearwater Spectrum Field to pay their respects.
The Rays are hitting the reset button, and that begins with trading away the face of the franchise.
In late December, we were all shocked to hear the news that Longo was leaving. The Rays traded their all-star third baseman after 10 years of loyalty to the Bay Area. Let's not forget the fight over Confederate monuments. It took less than 24 hours to raise the money needed to remove this statue from outside the old Hillsborough County Courthouse. Lakeland also voted to move theirs. And while working in the middle of the night, crews in Bradenton broke this war veteran memorial. Late in the year came the scariest time for one neighborhood in Tampa.
The last couple of months have been difficult.
As long as it takes, the mayor and the police chief making it clear that you are going to continue to see a lot more of these until a killer is caught.
For more than a month, Seminole Heights was on edge. Benjamin Mitchell, Monica Hoffa, Anthony Naboa, and Ronald Felton were all murdered while they were alone at night. The community banded together to catch the man accused of killing them.
So I want to say thank you.
Anytime. You live in Seminole Heights?
I do.
We're going to be out tonight.
My house.
The Guardian Angels patrolled the streets, people installed surveillance cameras, and neighbors started the initiative to light the heights. All of that led up to this. On November 28th, a tip came in from the manager of the Ybor City McDonald's. She knew who it was because she worked beside him every day. Howell Donaldson III was arrested and charged for murder in all 4 cases. To this day, we still don't know what the motive was, but we can assure you 2018 will not be his best year. This brings us to the biggest story of 2017.
Hurricane Irma.
Hurricane Irma.
Hurricane Irma.
Hurricane Irma tore right up the middle of the state. What started as a tropical storm strengthened to a Category 5 hurricane in less than a week. By the time Irma reached the Florida Keys, it had sustained winds of 130 miles per hour. That's when we made the call.
You need to evacuate, you need to find yourself a safe place.
We left our home, but we never left your side.
It has been an exhausting, pretty much 9-10 days watching this storm.
We were there for you every step of the way, with more than 60 hours of continuous coverage from around our region. On September 10th, in the dead of night, Irma tracked north, battering the Tampa Bay area as a Category 2 hurricane with 100-mile-per-hour winds.
It also uprooted the shed along the way.
Polk County saw the worst of it. Trees toppled over and entire communities flooded. Much of the Bay Area was left in the dark for days. Our Hurricane Help Hub stayed on top of the power companies, making sure you got the answers you needed.
We have opened this to answer all of your questions.
In the weeks and months that followed, we saw just how brave, strong, and caring our neighbors are, because together, we are Tampa Bay.
Of course, those are just some of the stories that had you talking in 2017. There was also the eclipse, April the giraffe.
Of course.
And of course, those cute little baby eagles.
I can't get enough of them. For a full list, check out our Year in Review section under the Local tab on WTSP.com. All right, right, so this is a live look at Raymond James Stadium, of course, hosted the Outback Bowl. Many people coming from all over the country to escape the cold weather where they are, but pretty chilly here in this area.
Really
and,
chilly.
You know, they had to wear sweaters. People talked about wearing pants and so forth to enjoy the game.
And it got cooler as the day progressed, which is counterintuitive because normally it gets warmer in the afternoons.
Right.
We had 60s for highs, mid 60s for highs, which is early this morning before the sun even came up. And then through the day, the temperatures fell down. We were just talking during the commercial break. 4 or 5 days of this at least.
Really?
Look at that picture back there.
Yeah.
That is nice and warm. That's what I want. One day already complaining, right? We need this. You know, it's kind of cool. It's winter time, so let's take it, right? Let's take you live outside Mahaffey Theater. Things are getting a little bit dark out there, of course. Overcast skies, mist. You can see the wind blowing there in that tree, and that's going to stick around for a good 24 to 48 hours or so. We'll have a little bit of less wind as we get going into Wednesday and Thursday. Mahaffey Theater right now, most areas in the 40s. 41-degree dew point, winds out of the north at 16. Look at the 30s, though. In Brooksville and in Crystal River, those numbers are going to go down to the low 30s tonight. There's a freeze warning for Citrus County. I'll talk about that. It's 42 in Carrollwood, 49 in St. Pete and Bradenton. Sarasota, yeah, we've cooled a little bit. The cooler air is sinking southward. So you're feeling that change as the afternoon goes on, and that will continue into this evening. Let me back up. I wanted to show you that. These are the feels-like temperature when you factor in the wind. Feels like 30 in Brooksville and Crystal River. Tampa feels like it's in the 30s right now, 39 degrees. And it's warmer down south, so we don't have as much of a wind chill effect, but we will get it later tonight because it is going to cool down. 35 in Pensacola, 77 in Miami right now. The front, which you probably guessed, is sitting right in there. So even Miami's going to cool down later tonight as the front continues to move off towards the south. We're picking up on some of the mist and rain over on the East Coast. Not a lot here, at least not on the radar, but we're going to keep the low clouds and the mist. These little symbols right here, those are wind gusts today around 40, 45, 46 miles per hour that were recorded over there on the East Coast. We've been seeing gusts in the 20s. They'll stay that way. Frontal boundary will continue to move. Lots of clouds upstream. They're heading our direction. That means that full moon, right about now, super moon as well, we're not going to see it because we've got all the clouds out there. Here's the forecast model through tonight. Now, this is 12:30 in the morning, tonight, technically tomorrow morning, right? You see that pink? That is saying that Citrus County, northeastern Hernando County, could get a mix of precip. It's going to be close. I don't think we're going to see it. It's certainly not going to make it down to the Tampa area. But then here it is again, 8:30 in the morning. There's a couple little spots right there, too. So if you're in Citrus County, keep an eye on it. The air up above us is actually a little bit warm, so if anything, it would be sleet because it's going to melt before it comes down and then get into that cold air, which is right at the surface. So I'm not thinking snow or anything like that. This is 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, lots of clouds. Wind stays with us, a few showers around. But tomorrow night, that's 11:30 p.m. into Wednesday. That's when we have a pretty decent chance for rain. The mix of precip is going to be up in the northern part of the state. Part of Levy County, but generally to the north of there, including Jacksonville. And then there's a low forming on that front. You can see it starting to crank up over here. That's going to move up the coast. And look at this. I mean, snow for the Carolinas along the coast. D.C. is going to get it. If you have travel plans Wednesday night into Thursday for the Northeast, especially New York, Boston, those areas, that's a pretty decent snowstorm. I think the Cape will be mostly rain, but they'll get some snow on the backside of it. So that's going to be a newsworthy event, I think, Wednesday night into Thursday. Wind chill advisory goes into effect tonight at about 10 o'clock. You see we're going down into the upper 30s to low 40s. These are the lows for first thing tomorrow morning. It's going to be chilly out there. The wind chill advisory covers everybody, but there is a freeze warning for Citrus and Levy County. That's for tonight, about 29 to 33 degrees, and that has to be a certain amount of time. It's about 3 to 5 hours. That will cause some issues with plants. You need to keep that in mind. Don't forget your pets. And they had a tough time with it last night because of fireworks. And now it's cold on top of it, and some have kind of run away, so hopefully you can get them. The wind chill advisory will expire at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then we'll only go into the 50s for highs with clouds, with sprinkles, mist like we saw today. And Wednesday, better chance for rain. Look at these 50s. And in fact, we'll start in the 20s for Hernando and Citrus County on Thursday morning, Friday morning, but the weekend, finally a warm-up. 60 on Saturday, 70 on Sunday.
For many, 2018 is starting out with new additions to their families. Here are a few of the first babies born in the Bay Area this morning. It appears that the first baby born in 2018 in Hillsborough County was born at South Florida Baptist Hospital at 1:05 a.m. Baby girl Jasleen is the first child for Jessica Venegas and Sergio Pineda of Plant City. In Pinellas County, the first baby born there is baby Lincoln Chevere. He was born at 12:46 this morning for You know, his first-time parents, so exciting. Philip and Rachel Chevede of Clearwater.
Beautiful little baby.
Yes.
Well, if you're thinking 2018 might be the year you make the leap into something new, your favorite childhood toys of all things could be the inspiration. From Cabbage Patch Kids to the Tickle Me Elmo craze, even today, kids are now trying to get their hands on fingerlings. We all remember all of those must-have holiday toys. For one Minnesota woman, though, her favorite childhood toy became her true inspiration for a career change.
A toy that has been popular since the 1960s.
Easy bake, fast as you can. Mix 'em up, pour 'em in the pan.
Definitely on my wish list. I loved helping my mom bake, and so I wanted to do it myself.
And that is exactly what Christy Dirk did, becoming a professional baker after being inspired at just 8 years old, all thanks to the Easy Bake Oven.
Easy Bake, wow!
I loved making cakes, so I would make 6 or 8 layer cakes of like different rainbow colors, and it would pretty much take all day, but at 8 I had all day to do that.
Today, Christy bakes all day as well.
This was the model that I had right there.
No longer cooking with a light bulb, Christy recently opened the Lucky Oven Bakery, located at 54th and Penn in South Minneapolis, with a nostalgic nod to her inspiration, 54 Easy Bake Ovens covering the walls.
People talk about how they still have their own oven, or they remember their oven, or they'll find their oven on the wall.
I love my Easy Bake Oven. My Easy Bake Oven comes with enough mixes to make all these things.
No longer needing the pre-made mixes and using a much bigger oven, this pastry chef finally making her 8-year-old dream a reality.
I love feeding people, I always have, so this is sort of an extension of my home, I guess. I love having people over and cooking and feeding them. It makes me happy.
Like beautiful on the wall there.
Oh, it's
right?
incredible. I mean, we had one growing up. My brother and I used to use it. Did you have one?
You know, I had a McDonald's maker, not an Easy Bake. Do you remember those?
Yes.
I felt like I was the only one with one of those. Well, Christy tells us she started collecting Easy Bake Ovens once she decided that she would make that the theme for her bakery. She also got a little help from her friends too.
Gosh, I wish I was as good a cook as her. It didn't work out for me.
Right.
So if your New Year's resolution was to not play the lottery anymore, this might be bad timing. Mega Millions is now at $343 million for Tuesday's drawing, and the Powerball is at $440 million for Wednesday. The odds of winning decrease as the jackpots grow, but get this, the odds of winning both of these is roughly 1 in 75 quadrillion.
Wow.
10 News is your official lottery station. You can watch the winning numbers drawn tomorrow and Wednesday right here on Nightside. Starting the new year with a new outbreak, fact versus fiction on the flu.
A Tampa Bay family of 4 were among the 12 people killed in a small plane crash in Costa Rica Sunday. Doctors Mitchell and Leslie Weiss and their 2 children, Hannah and Ari, are listed among the dead. The Costa Rican government released video of the crash. The director of aviation there said the single-engine Cessna was headed for the capital city of San Juan Sunday afternoon. They're still investigating what caused the plane to go down.
Phil Buck is here, and you tried to talk to the people who knew the Weiss family. What did you learn?
Well, I mean, Carolina, the first thing I did, I went and knocked on the door at their home in Bel Air, which, you know, is never an easy thing to do. And there were some people there, not family, I'm told, but some friends and some colleagues. And, you know, you're going to see some pictures. These are the parents. Dr. Weiss, he was 52 years old, she was 50. The people at the home that I spoke to were understandably very upset. They didn't want to talk to me. I did manage to talk to a couple neighbors down the block. One who not only lived a few doors down, but said that Dr. Weiss actually helped deliver his son 7 years ago.
A great family, always so friendly. I had just talked to Miss Weiss right before they went away on the trip about going to Costa Rica and her having to bring so many different pairs of shoes, jokingly, about going hiking and bike riding and whitewater rafting. And I was kind of jealous. You never want it to happen to somebody that you know. And they were a good family.
And you could see really how emotional he was getting there, and he didn't actually know until I knocked on his door and told him this morning. He had seen the news about that plane crash on Facebook, but he didn't know that it was the Weiss family who was on board.
In that moment when you had to talk, my goodness. All right, so what do we know about the couple's children?
Both of their children were also killed in the crash. Hannah, who was 19 years old, Ari was 16. A couple of neighbors I talked to said that they used to see the whole family out walking the dog together as a family all the time. And speaking of the dog, I actually met the dog when I went to the house and I knocked on the Weiss's door today. She's clearly a beloved member of this family, and you know, she's a dog. She has no idea that none of her loved ones are coming back, which is, of course, just another heartbreaking aspect of this story.
All right, Phil, thank you. Just devastating.
Both of the Weiss children attended Shorecrest Preparatory School in St. Petersburg. Ari was still a student there. Hannah had already graduated. An update now to 2 alerts we sent to your phone. First, a deadly attack in St. Pete. Detectives are looking for a man they say killed a 68-year-old man and brutally attacked his 63-year-old sister inside their home. This happened near Elk Camp Boulevard and Bluefish Drive. Police say the family knew their attacker. Now take a look at this photo. Investigators say they are looking for 44-year-old Otis Henderson. They believe he could be armed and is considered dangerous. If you see him, call St. Pete police. A speeding boat flipped over in the choppy waters in Sarasota this afternoon. This happened just off the Ringling Causeway. 2 adults and 2 kids were hurt in that crash. Everyone is expected to be okay, though.
Nothing like starting the new year feeling your absolute worst. Cases of the flu have jumped significantly. The CDC released this map showing how the flu has exploded across the country. It's widespread here in Florida, too, and the amount of cases are increasing here in the Bay Area. Your office is probably a lot like our newsroom. Germs just waiting to get you sick. You know, you probably have things that you use to stave off the flu, like, you know, hand sanitizer. A lot of the desks around here have it. Well, we are here to separate fact from fiction when it comes to, you know, how easily the germs can spread.
If you're one of those people who holds their breath when someone nearby coughs or sneezes, bad news, germaphobe. Researchers at MIT found sneeze particles can travel 20 feet or more and at speeds approaching 100 miles per hour. And once airborne, viruses in these tiny droplets can survive long after you stop holding your breath.
The problem with the flu is you can't see it.
Dr. Robert Simonson is medical director of emergency services at Methodist Dallas Medical Center.
What we have noticed this year is I have seen a significant reduction in people who got the flu shot. Just, did you get it? Nope, I sure didn't.
A common misconception he hears is that the flu shot can make you sick.
It's not the flu shot that got you sick. Maybe when you came in here, you had the flu when you came in. You can't get it, it's dead. There's no live particles to the influenza shot, so you can't get the flu from that.
What about that instant hand sanitizer? Is it as effective as good old soap and water?
Yeah, probably equally.
The CDC says as long as the solution has 60% or more alcohol, go for it. We found brands like Purell have 70% alcohol. And finally, will guzzling products like Airborne really help?
No. It's not really a medicine. It's a product that has a lot of vitamin B, C, and D in it, and people still swear by if I take my gram of whatever vitamin per day, and there's no studies to show that works.
So what does work? Doctors say it's simple. Get a flu shot, keep your hands clean, and cover that cough or sneeze with your sleeve or a tissue.
So good to clear that all up. The flu season usually peaks in February, so we can expect more cases in the coming weeks.
If you thought your iPhone was working a little bit slower than usual, you can now get a replacement battery for a discounted price. Apple admitted to slowing some iPhone batteries down. That prompted a surge of customer backlash, including a big lawsuit from Texas. Chris Spearman has an iPhone that he says doesn't work the way it should. That's why he's one of 3 plaintiffs in a new lawsuit, one of several filed across the country. Spearman says his battery has died, his phone slowed down, and he's bought new iPhones and chargers because of it.
I've already bought 3 phones from having the battery drain quicker apps shutting down.
There are millions of iPhones out there. The actual damages are going to be whatever people lost, whether it was buying accessories to try to fix the problem themselves or hack it, so to speak, or to purchase new phones.
Apple has admitted that its iOS software was designed to slow iPhones down. They say to avoid unexpected shutdowns because of an aging battery. The company has apologized and offered discounted battery replacements. Spearman says Apple should have been more upfront in the first place. Here's how you get a battery replacement if your iPhone is a 6 or older version. Go to Apple's website and click support. Schedule an appointment with the Genius Bar or set up a repair through the mail. And vacationers escaping the cold could find themselves getting sick at the beach.
Images like this from Erie, Pennsylvania have a lot of people, yes, Bobby, coming to our Bay Area beaches. But the windy, dreary weather here is not making for the best beach conditions. There are red tide warnings in Sarasota County. According to Florida Fish and Wildlife, red tide blooms have been showing up in the waters along the southwest part of the state. Even if it doesn't kill the fish, the marine aerosol can irritate your throat as it blows on shore.
Very windy, a little bit of red tide, no dead fish, not too bad, just wind out of the north, no irritation in the throat, just cough a little bit and runny nose. It could be a lot worse.
So the best thing to do before you try to plan a beach day is to check the conditions on myfwc.com.
So, Bobby, I went to the gym today in the morning, as usual, wearing the usual pair of shorts and the undershirt. Big mistake. It was freezing outside this morning.
And got cooler in the afternoon,
Yeah.
too, as the day went on. And we're just talking about the beach plans for the next week.
Right.
Not a lot of people doing the beach in the next week. We're talking highs in the 50s, lows in the 30s.
Wow.
Over the next several days. So, and was the gym crowded? I mean, it's January 1st.
You know what? It was empty. I was surprised. They haven't signed up yet.
Tomorrow it'll be that way.
Right.
All right, guys, we topped out at 66 degrees. I know we're talking about how chilly it is, but that was early in the morning. We've been spending most of the day in the low 50s and then into the 40s. It's in the 40s now. 70s where we should be for this time of year. Beautiful shot of downtown, but you notice the top of the screen there, that's the low clouds beginning to lower even a little bit more. We're going to keep some mist in the forecast overnight tonight. It's 44 degrees right now. Whew, the average low is about 50, 52 degrees this time of year. We're all in the 40s for the I-4 corridor. Same thing, Sarasota and Lakewood Ranch. 37 for Crystal River and 39 right now in Brooksville. But you factor in the wind, which is kind of gusty and should stay up too, 15, 20 miles per hour. Look at this gust of Tampa last hour, 28, a 30 mile per hour wind gust just now in Clearwater, sustained at 18 miles per hour. That makes it feel like 42 in Clearwater, 37 in Tampa, and it feels like 30 degrees right now in Crystal River. So wind chill advisories are going up, and I'll show you those in just a few minutes here. Picking up rain over on the East Coast, it's tough to pick up the mist that we have here, but we're going to keep that, and you can see the clouds streaming in from the west, low clouds as well, so we're going to keep that. Frontal boundary is moving south, but right now I'm telling you it's in the mid-70s in Miami. Beautiful right now for them, but they're going to get some cool air as well too. Here's the forecast model for tonight. I'll run out to about midnight. It's about 12:30 in the morning. And yeah, look at that. That is a little possibility of some mixed precip. The air up above us is actually a little bit warmer and will be so later tonight as we go through the overnight hours. So anything that falls is going to fall as rain and could get a little sleet or something. But I just don't think we see that. And that's only Crystal River. This is tomorrow morning, 8:30. You see it trying to do it again. Tampa, none of that. It's all rain. No worries for that. But we are going to see rain kind of on and off overnight tonight. And then a little bit of a break tomorrow, but I still think mostly cloudy skies and just barely in the mid-50s for highs on Tuesday. Tuesday night, this is 11:30. Here comes some rain. And Tuesday night into Wednesday, actually some pretty decent chance for showers, perhaps even a thunderstorm, but mainly just rain. And then look at the mixed precip to our north. And then what's happening is a low is going to form on that front that's brought all this cool air. It's going to form east of the state and then roll right up the East Coast. There's been decent snows along the coast here in North Carolina, South Carolina, Maryland, Virginia, up into the Delmarva, of course, area. And then it's going to be an issue for Washington, but especially New York, Boston. So if you've got travel plans Wednesday into Thursday, Wednesday night into Thursday, call ahead. There's not only just snow, but also a lot of wind as well. There's going to be a little bit of surge along the coast. Yeah, we're not going to have any of that. But tonight, you notice we are going to get a wind chill advisory go into effect at 10 o'clock. Actually, I need to move that back a little bit as temperatures go down through the 40s. We're going to wake up in the upper 30s to low 40s south of I-4, but low 30s north of there. And in fact, that wind chill advisory is from 10 p.m. tonight through 10 a.m. tomorrow. It'll feel like 15 to 25 degrees for the Nature Coast. Most other places, I-4 southward, will be about 25 to 35 degrees. It's what it'll feel like. Now, actual air temperatures close to freezing tonight and tomorrow morning, especially in Citrus and Levy County. So we do have a freeze warning there. Don't forget your pets. Bring them in, and yeah, plants, do what you can, you know. So forecast for tomorrow, cloudy skies, only in the mid-50s for daytime highs. It is going to be a chilly day. Bobby Deskin's weather, I just posted on there from that snow in Erie, almost 84 inches since December 24th. They had over 120 inches of snow in the month of December in Erie. Check it out on my Facebook page. And if you got any cool pics out there, hashtag send to10. Is what you can do, and we'll pick that up. I'd love to share those. 7-day forecast, guys, showing 50s for highs most of the week. Breezy next couple of days, decent rain chance on Wednesday, and then you see we finally start to warm things up Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, getting close to about 70 degrees by Sunday.
Last night, you probably were looking up at the sky to watch many of our area's beautiful fireworks, but this year, we're getting a bit of a twofer. Tonight, the January full moon will arrive at perigee, which is its closest point to Earth in an orbit. When a full moon collides with the perigee, many call it a supermoon. NASA is obviously very excited about this. They tweeted, tonight's full moon will be the biggest and brightest of 2018, called the Wolf Moon. We're calling it our New Year's Day moon and the most super of the 3 supermoons this winter. Happy Moon Crush Monday. But you can already see this larger than usual moon. Rebecca spent New Year's Eve in Paris. Get this, she had a romantic dinner at the Eiffel Tower and under the full moon. Could it get any better to experience it? And finally, this user tweeted this photo of the full moon off in the distance in London. Now we want to see if you can possibly capture any of it with all those clouds in the sky. We want to see your photos of this moon with the hashtag send to10.
Now, from your Suncoast Hyundai dealers, this is 10 Sports.
Welcome to Raymond James Stadium, where today's Outback Bowl marked the final game of the season at Ray J between Michigan and South Carolina. Now, the Bucs were hoping they'd be back here for a few playoff games. Instead, they wrapped up that disappointing season yesterday against the Saints with a win. The team finishes at 5-11. The rumors swirled that the coaching staff would not be retained for 2018. But not only is Dirk Cutter coming back, he's also going to continue calling the offensive plays. He said that today, as well as retaining defensive coordinator Mike Smith. He was much maligned throughout the season, a disappointing defensive effort through this entire 11-loss year. So the roster and the staff will look very similar following a promising season that fell apart quickly.
I was so confident at the beginning of the year. A lot of us come, but the hype was real, you know what I'm saying? So it really fuels me because it lets us know, okay, just because the hype is there, that doesn't mean anything. You know, we got to go out there and play on the field.
In one-score games, we were 3-7. That could have easily been 7-3, and we would be getting ready to play next week. Or who knows, getting ready to play the week after. We just got to find a way to finish those games. We won't know if we figure something out or we learn from it until next season.
Now, McCoy and Winston will be back in 2018. Brent Grimes remains a question mark. The free agent cornerback said he will take some time to figure things out about his future. Dirk Cutter made it clear today he wants him back on this defense. At 34 years old, Grimes remains one of the top cornerbacks in the entire NFL. Now, Brent Grimes wants to get paid while the Ravens, Eric Bentley, is not getting paid. Or Eric Weddle, that is, won't be getting paid because the Baltimore Ravens lost to the Bengals, costing Weddle a $1 million bonus. He had in his contract the incentive that if Weddle made the Pro Bowl, which he did, and the Ravens clinched a playoff spot, he could cash in that $1 million check. But we all know what happened yesterday. The Bengals and Andy Dalton came back the touchdown with a minute remaining, and Weddle fails to cash in on that $1 million bonus. Now, back here at the Outback Bowl, Michigan and South Carolina did not wait to get after it until kickoff. On Wednesday, the two teams had to be separated at a Tampa Bay bowling alley. Jake Bentley throwing the biggest strike today. The Big Ten undefeated during bowl season, 7-0, but the Gamecocks are unimpressed. Fourth quarter in this one, Gamecocks down when Bentley tosses a perfect strike to Shi Smith, 54 yards for the touchdown. and South Carolina takes the lead. Michigan turned the ball over 5 times in this game. That was capped off with this interception by Brandon Peters, and South Carolina holds on to win the game 26-19 in the Outback Bowl. Now, as for that Peach Bowl, an undefeated UCF, they're taking on Auburn. The Knights backed up all of that trash talk in Atlanta. Fourth quarter in this one, up 7, Saquon Burkett for the Knights, the pick 6, and UCF wins 34-27 to complete the perfect season at 13-0, the only undefeated team throughout college football this season. Many are going to say they want to see that team in the college football playoff, including my partner in crime, who usually is here on big game days like this one, but Ryan Bass, currently in Atlanta, checking out that Peach Bowl. His Knights were in that game going undefeated. Carolina, we know how much Ryan loves those UCF Knights, so he's going to be flying back to Tampa tomorrow. A very, very happy man.
Oh, yeah, we're going to hear about it.
No, we certainly won't.
Oh, yeah, Justin, we're going to hear about it as soon as he gets back.
And I think
I'm sure his Facebook page is like all over it.
It's an indoor stadium too. I think
Yeah.
pictures he's putting out from the press box are looking nice. Well, he's out there in the cold in an empty stadium at this point.
But is it gonna get colder before it warms up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We've got some moisture coming in, so we're going to keep some rain around, kind of misty like it's been. And that's just, to me, that's worse. It's just 40s and 50s and mist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just 40s would be fine.
Yeah, no, for me too. The combination of this, it's like, oh,
combination of it.
miserable.
And then by the time we get towards Thursday, we'll be drying things out, even by late Wednesday afternoon. You can see the 7-day forecast here. But those days that say cold start, that's Thursday morning, Friday morning, even Saturday morning, it's going to be 20s, especially Hernando and Citrus County.
20s.
So this is, I mean, this happens. It's certainly what we do, but it's one of those times where if you do have pets or plants and that type of thing that you need to bring in, you need to protect if you can, you definitely want to be thinking that. There's been a lot of talk about snow this week.
Yes.
You know, every time I come in.
Thank God I keep looking at it. Every time you do, I'm like, someone's going to be like emailing you.
There's some cold air. The problem with that is there's actually warmer air up above us. It's above freezing. And some areas at the surface will be at freezing if there's enough moisture left over. And I'm talking really Citrus County more than anything else. Okay. So could you get a little piece of sleet in there or something? Maybe. But there's not really much in the way of rain at this point. Wednesday, when we get our best chance for rain in the morning, the temperatures are actually going to warm up a little bit. And even Tampa's going to be in the 40s and 50s. So it's too
So
warm
even if that happened, it'd be hard to even get video of it or the proof of
We're getting some calls.
Would be nice, just once. You know? We were talking about this supermoon. A lot of people are excited about it. We're not going to really have a great shot at this thing.
It peaks tonight. We've got clouds all night long. That mist that's out there. There could be a small hole. I don't expect it. But a lot of folks may have seen it last night because a lot of folks were out about last night, and it was just about at the peak. But we'll have to wait a couple days because I think we're going to keep quite a few clouds in the forecast through at least Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday night we may clear out a little bit.
For all the people who visited us, for the bowl game.
My daughter the other day, head on out there.
So
water temperature is mid 60s now, so it'll actually be a little bit warmer at the beach.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there
Still
you
better
go.
than up north, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, have a good night. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.